Good afternoon. About a week ago I made a video listing 20 rock songs that I would play loudly in the shower, and I was thinking this over. I was going to do 20 rock songs that were quiet, but I had another idea in the meantime. These are 20 songs, not necessarily rock songs, but 20 songs that have a definite little story to them. Some of them are sad stories and some of them are funny stories, and that's the way they are. I like singing along or listening to any song that has got a story to it. So this is my top 20. I could maybe do 25 depending on how I'm feeling here. The first one is by the Beatles, and it's Rocky Raccoon, and the words of this are very clever. And it's a great wee song. I used to hear my friend Satch in halls of residence playing this on his guitar and singing along. I'll run down the words for you. Well, there they are. Now, it comes from the Beatles White LP, double LP, issued in 1968. This is Whiskey in the Jar. It's a traditional Irish song set in the southern mountains of Ireland, because it mentions Cork and Kerry and whatnot, and it's the story of a highwayman enchanted by the fair looks of a lady who in turn betrays him to the English, and he's waiting to be executed. The song was released by Thin Lizzy in 1973, and here are the lyrics of this. The lyrics here are attributed to Metallica, but I like the Thin Lizzy version an awful lot better. Quite a long song. This is one of the most famous LPs that Johnny Cash ever made. It's Johnny Cash at St Quentin Jail singing before a captive audience, and it was the first time that he ever sang A Boy Named Sue, and it just went down a bomb, as you'll hear if you play the song. It was written by Shel Silverstein, who went on to write Sylvia's mother for Dr. Hook, and he wrote books, children's books and all the rest of it. Did well for himself. So this is A Boy Named Sue, and it's an amazing set of lyrics, enjoyable, funny. Good story. This is Streets of London, and tells the stories of so many folk lying, sleeping on the streets of London. The song was on the album Spiral Staircase, and the album was released in 1969, but the single wasn't released until 1974. And over the years it has been picked up and sung by more than 200 different artists. This is Streets of London, released really in 1974, but first on an album, heard on an album in 1969. Like Johnny Cash's A Boy Named Sue, it was released in 1969 as well. And I'll just show you the lyrics in a second. I'll just prefix the lyrics by reading you this. I cried because I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet. And that was a quote from Helen Keller, who was blind, she was blind, deaf and dumb. McTell presents a series of characters from the streets of London. And here's the lyrics. And silly me, forgot to mention the singer's name. That's Ralph McTell, of course. This is the tragic story of the Edmund Fitzgerald, as retold in song by Gordon Lightfoot, and it comes from an album called Summertime Dream, released in 1976. The song is extremely mournful and haunting, and it retells the tragic story of the Edmund Fitzgerald ship under 29 crew members that came to grief on Lake Superior in 1975. The waves were estimated to be between 10 and 35 feet high, and unfortunately the cargo shifted and the hatches burst open and the ship went down. So Gordon Lightfoot did a lot of research on this and released this song in 1976, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And as you'll see from the lyrics, it's quite a long song, but very cleverly crafted words and very sympathetic to the guys who died, and very much a tribute to them. I think it's brilliant. There's another super story song. It's by Stan Ridgway. It's called Camouflage, and this song was on an album released by Stan Ridgway in 1986, and the album was called The Big Heat. And the story tells of the an unlikely incident from a search and destroy mission in the Vietnam War, where a young Marine is saved by a big trooper called Camouflage. That's his nickname. And whenever he returns to base with Camouflage, who has been impervious to bullets, the Camouflage disappears, and whenever the young Marine cites his report, he finds that Camouflage has been dying and has just died, and he never left camp. So a wee bit of dramatics there, a wee bit of a ghost story. Excellent stuff. Love this. And once again, the lyrics. These are the Shangri-Las. They're only schoolgirls, aged between 15 and 17. They came from Queens in New York, and sometimes there were 3 in the group and sometimes there were 4. And they sang about teenage angst and teenage tragedy and young love and all the rest of it. But the song for me was Leader of the Pack. It was a motorbike song where tragedy struck at the end. They were around between 1964 and 1966, really. Their popularity and sales began to wane in 1967, and like so many other groups back then, they didn't get the royalties for their songs. They were ripped off by managers, etc., etc. So the group broke up, sort of disillusioned. Their other big song was Remember, Walking in the Sand. These girls could have been really something. They had 2 major hits, and they were all under the age of 18. So and they appeared with the Rolling Stones. They appeared with the Beatles, and you know. It was just a shame they were just badly treated. Here's the lyrics of Leader of the Pack. Is she really going out with him? Well, there she is. Let's ask her. Betty, is that Jimmy's ring you're wearing? Mm-hmm. You remember that? We all do. Leader of the Pack, from the iconic Shangri-Las. This is the Gambler, one of the best versions of this song. It was recorded by many people. This is Kenny Rogers' version that I mostly knew. It was released in 1978 firstly, but several times re-released over the years. It is a song told from the worldly wise perspective of an old poker player travelling by train to his next gig. And it's not really about poker playing or gambling as such. It's a sort of a metaphor, and it's all about, you know, the way we handle the ups and downs that life throws at us. I think it's a terrific song. I love the sort of story style in which it's sung. Kenny Rogers died, I think he was 81, he died last year, March, and you know, Kenny Rogers did it all as regards the music scene. He was a singer, songwriter, musician, actor, producer, entrepreneur, all-round good guy. And just Mr. Country Music personified. Here's the lyrics. You gotta know when to hold on. You've gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. I think that's good. And this is a song by Queen. It's a song that you may never have heard of before. It's It was penned by Brian May, and it's one of the few Queen songs, I don't even think there are any others, that Freddie Mercury did not appear as lead singer. This is 39, and strange title for a song too. It's, whenever you get into it, you realise that it's the story of an astronaut who launches off, says goodbye to his wife and children and all the rest, and goes to some distant place. Now, because of the speed of light that he's travelling, whenever he gets back, a year later, actually 100 Earth years have passed, and his children are now, like his grandchildren. He's 100 years older, but he doesn't realise this, and all the people that he grew up with are lost to him. So it's quite a poignant story, quite a sad story. It's basically a sci-fi folk song. This is in tune with Brian May because he studied astrophysics, and he's interested in all things heavenly. So this is 39. Released in 1976 as a B-side. Very, very clever song. Now here's the lyrics. Pity me at the end. And this is another firm favourite from Kenny Rogers. This is Card of the County. It was released in 1979, and it's a country and western music standard, and it has been recorded by dozens and dozens of different artists over the years. This is the story of Tommy, who promised his dad, as a dying wish from his dad, that he would never get himself into trouble. He would avoid trouble. And this leads to Tommy being branded as the card of the county, until Tommy's girlfriend is sexually molested by three lads, and Tommy confronts all three of them, and he heads towards the door, and they think that they're going to mock him again, but Tommy bars the door of the saloon and comes back and takes on all three of them, and he's never going to be called the card of the county again. It's a compelling story, fascinating story, and the moral is that sometimes whoever you are, you've got to fight and get bruised standing up for what is right. And we all know the tune, and we all know the words. Everyone considered him the card of the county.